All right. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of Modern Mindset podcast. My name is Jesse.
I'm David.
And today we got some interesting stuff to talk about.
Yeah. We're kind of dealing with, I guess, a big transition, too, with moving out of our shop space and finishing up a bunch of projects. And we got some good questions on Instagram, too.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, this is actually our last week in our current shop space. And then we're going to be kind of regrouping, resetting, and moving into a shop space that suits our current needs as opposed to our previous needs. So
and
we're just
what we're growing
out.
into.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Something that we can actually grow into and not grow out of. I feel like we grew out of our current shop space.
Yeah, we've been there for 2.5, 3 years?
Yeah, 2 3/4 almost. And I feel like we kind of capped out how much we can grow in that space. And even the amount of stuff that we have in there is just overwhelming now, to the point where it's we actually need more space, physically and mentally, to grow to that next level. So
yeah, and that's why we couldn't get a podcast out last Saturday, I guess, because we're cleaning up and everything. Moving forward here.
Yeah.
So
and we want to be super natural with this, not supernatural, but super natural. I don't want to. I don't want to do something if it feels forced.
Yes, it's gotta be the right vibe.
Yeah, last week we were just we were busy with cleaning, and if we got an episode up, it wouldn't have been as natural as we like things to be. So we kind of just put it off until this week when we're feeling more on the ball, and like you said, the vibe is more right. So with that being said, what do you want to start off with?
I don't know. Let's jump into a Instagram question here.
Okay.
Let's see. So, this is a question that I found interesting. Somebody asked us, they want to know about our days, what a day in the life of Lowcals is. And it's a good question because honestly, we do a lot of different things and we just do so much and it kind of varies every single day.
Yeah.
So, I guess let's jump into that, what we do.
Okay, so typically, you want to just go kind of hour by hour type of thing? Or
just or day by day.
Yeah.
Kind of
Okay, so I guess a brief summary of my typical day is I'll wake up, I'll usually go to the dog park and listen to some Gary Vee or some other type of podcast. Usually something just to get my brain kind of waking up and thinking, bigger picture and keep, I guess always be developing my mind. So as long as I'm learning something every day, that's how I know I'm progressing. First thing, podcast, dog park, or take my dog for a walk or something, some type of outdoor activity to kind of get me my mind stimulated. Mm-hmm. And then beyond that, I usually come back and I do a lot of I try to respond to all the DMs that I can, respond to all the comments that I can, which, by the way, quick little interjection here. We try to respond to every single DM and every single comment that we get. So if you guys have any questions, you need help with any personal problem, literally just anything, we're here to bring
inquiries about anything.
Yeah, we're here to bring you guys value. So just drop comments. Feel free to DM us, and we'll hopefully try to get back to you as quick as we can. But so, anyways, I respond to DMs, respond to comments, and then it kind of shifts over to more emails and business collaborations. So we try to work with a lot of companies, and a lot of that is just communicating with them on a daily basis. So I talk to Brian from Kansai a lot, and DSG Performance. I'm dealing with them, and a couple other companies that we're just kind of trying to figure things out with, buying and selling stuff, and just general business emails. And then after that, so that probably brings us to 10:30 a.m. ish.
Yeah.
Then I always try to go to the gym. And that's my focus time. So I do all the email and all the DM stuff to because I actually get really anxious when I don't do it. So I need to get that out of the way first. Otherwise I won't have a good workout and I can't focus. So I get all that shit out of the way. And then I focus on my workout for an hour usually. And then I have my own individual goals for that too. So I'm developing physically as well. And then right after the gym, I usually go straight from the gym to the shop. And then every day at the shop is really, really different. So I don't know. I guess I'll just pause my day there, and then you can do yours, and then we'll kind of link up.
Mine's kind of similar. So I'll wake up, and then as I'm in that just waking up state where you're still in that beta like wave where you're like half asleep, half awake. I'll like stay in bed and do some like, I guess, meditation or like set intentions for the day. Just like visualization too. It's the easiest time to do it. And then definitely like self-awareness things such as like, listening to podcasts or reading a book or just like taking notes. And then depends whether I'm in the vibe to go to the gym right in the morning or in the evening, because like both options are totally different vibes. So like I'll wake up and see which vibe I'm feeling, and then it goes down, and then so then I go generally to the shop and we kind of plan our business day. So with our businesses, I guess, because like we do so much, so there's either things that we need to do such as like this podcast. There's things such as working on our cars, like projects that we need to finish. There's infamous work, whether it be the ABS or prepping for the carbon fiber work. There's YouTube videos. There's order fulfillment. There's
planning photo shoots.
Yeah, planning photo shoot, brand things. There's designing work, like working with like making logos and designing new products. So like there's kind of like a big not general, but like just a lot of tasks that need to be done. And I find that our days as a brand and businesses can vary. So like one day, it's fully working on a car to finish this project. And you're like, something I've learned recently that we were talking about is like, when you have a task, like you need to do something, if you focus all of your mental focus towards that thing and complete it, you're going to do a better job on it. So say you need to work on like business expenses and data logging. If you just fully with undivided attention focus on that task until you're finished, and then like check that off and then move on to the next thing. That's like better than like kind of dividing
very true.
Like your mind.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of times I find myself getting like really overwhelmed with like just an endless list of tasks that need to be done, and I don't really know where to start. So rather than like, I've made mistakes in the past where I try to do multiple things at once, and then the list ends up just taking so long, and like I actually get like stressed out because I'm not finishing anything on the list, and I'm just like chipping away at things. Yeah. And it's like progress is good, but this year I kind of changed my approach. So I'll look at the list and I'll pick the like what 3 things if I did today, like, and put 100% attention into, only 3 things, or even 2 things or 1 thing, depending on how big they are.
Yeah.
Like what 3 things can I do that will like make this list, just a little bit smaller, and like actually be able to cross these things off the list.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I've been doing lately, is like, picking one task and actually focusing on it until it's finished, and then the next one and focusing on it until it's finished. So, exactly like what you just said, rather than trying to tackle the whole list as one, you just like pick the top 3 things that are like stressing you out or bothering you or like are most urgent, and you just get those done right away.
Yeah. Find you can get into that flow state too when you just like have your mind focused on one thing. So like, for example, like personally with me working on the Z, we're moving out of our shop. So we have a deadline of when the Z had to be finished by. So I would like allocate certain portions of time to fully work on the Z, so the most progress on the Z could get finished. If I was working on the Z and then like 30 minutes in, I was like, okay, let me do some like logging, like some tax stuff. And then like, okay, I should, now I'm going to like do some order fulfillment, and then I'll go back to the Z. That's just like so inefficient because your mind's like split up in different tasks. Rather, if you just like fully focus on one thing, you can get it done sooner and better. Sort of deal. Yeah.
The flow state is like a really interesting topic. Yeah. It's kind of something we've been learning about more this year too. Yeah. Is just like, when you're working on something, like you've probably all experienced this. A lot of people experience it with like sports, or the gym is another big one. Yes. But you just get so involved with what you're doing that you're like, your perception of time is gone. Your perception of like any other problems is gone. And you just like, the only thing your mind is focused on is what you're doing. Yeah. And it's like, once you get into that state, that's when real progress is being made, and like I just find it's good for like mental health too.
100%.
Like, that's you can forget about other things for like however long you're working on that one thing.
I remember me saying that to you. I was working on the Z for like 3 hours, and then just like so in this total focused flow state. And flow state, like technically, if you, it's like this state where you're being challenged, but you're overcoming the challenge because you're using your brain. And then because you overcame that challenge, it's like easy in like quotations, but then like another challenge arises, but you figure it out. So like that's what the flow state is. You're in the state where you're like progressing and learning and
overcoming each challenge.
And like you're fully focused on that mentally. So your mind isn't on anything else. It isn't thinking about the time. It isn't thinking of other to-do lists that you need to do. It's just like, and I remember saying to you after working on the Z for like 3 hours, like, damn dude, I feel like I was like out of reality for like 3 hours. Like I was so focused on this thing that I just like wasn't looking at my phone, wasn't like, just like, it's a state. And like, that's when I learned, like, I have that same state at the gym, or at least try to every single time, where it's like I said, if you're fully focused on your goals at the gym while you're at the gym, rather than thinking about other things you need to do, like if you're at the gym focused on your strength goals, rather than like, oh, I need to respond to like emails, or I need to get a video up today. Just like when you're doing that thing, fully focus on that thing. That's how you're going to achieve like the best.
Yeah, sometimes it kind of works against me though. Like personally, when I used to be really slow at building Arrow. So when we first started Infamous, it would take us like 2 days to build the diffusers, and just because it was something new, and I wasn't really in that flow state yet. But then once I got into the flow state and I could do things like super quickly, like I could build a full kit in like 3-4 hours or something, I would find myself like forgetting to eat and like forgetting to like drink water and like the most basic things. But I would just like I would totally forget about it because I was so focused on finishing it. So I don't know, you kind of got to be self-aware and like build those into like habits. And like sometimes you even got to stop yourself and be like, dude, you got to like eat some food, man. Like, you're going to die.
That's so true.
Like I'd literally work for like 8-10 hours without eating, and then I'd be like, oh shit, like I'm super hungry, and I didn't even realize like, what I was doing.
I'm sure there's like good and bad flow states, hey? Because like
definitely.
Think of like a crackhead, right? That's like
all right, I like where this is going.
They do crack, and then they run out of crack. So they have the challenge of like needing to get money.
True.
And then like they overcome that challenge with whatever way they decide, and then you know what I mean.
That's true. Crackheads are super resourceful because they have like no money, but they need they need their fix. So like they somehow find a way to do it every day.
I remember seeing a post recently. It was like the mind of a crackhead. You can implement it sort of with like your goals, because it's like they need it. They're fiending for it. They do whatever it takes to get it. And obviously you got to do it the legal and like moral way, but like that mentality of like and like I guess just to be more clear of like the day in the life question. For example, today on this specific day, me and Jesse met up, did some planning a little earlier in the day. We're filming this podcast, getting it put up. We're heading over to Custom Decals to pick up some products that we have, and then we're heading to the shop, fulfilling some orders. We got a little bit of Infamous work to do, and then what else is there? Cleaning up the shop because we're moving out of there. So it's like we take whatever is the most valuable thing that needs to be done, and we like have a checklist. Like we need to do this, and then this, then this, then this. So it varies every day, like I said, between what we need to do and.
This year I'm really focused on increasing my value. So just like really valuing, my time and like what I'm doing, and trying to make what I'm doing worth as much as I can. So I'm not going to get into like specific numbers or anything like that, but there's a certain like dollar value that I place on my time. And like as I'm moving through life, I want that number to be increasing consistently, so that my time is like super valuable. And that's kind of how I decide what I'm going to do. Just like which one of these tasks is worth, that value that I place on myself. And that's how I decide like what I'm going to be doing usually.
Yeah, same here. Just like do the things that make you the most valuable.
And also the things you enjoy the most. That's another big thing. Just like you have to really become self-aware and listen to yourself. Like what do you enjoy and like what do you not enjoy? And that's it. That's how you decide. Like
that's so true. Yeah, we were talking about how self-awareness, so your intuition and how you feel. So like you're constantly changing and evolving and getting older and learning more things and like experiencing new things. So like you're just changing as a person so often that like it's really important to like reflect on how you feel and what excites you and what makes you happy, and like pursuing those specific things. What were you saying about if you verbally say you're gonna do something and tell people that?
Oh yeah. People like build jails for themselves. Like, maybe you, just an example, like you tell your parents like, yeah, I'm gonna go be a lawyer. I'm gonna go to this school. I'm gonna get these grades, and then like, it's something that you actually want. So you start out on that process, but then maybe halfway through, you're like, okay, actually, I don't want to do this at all. But because you've built that system around you, and you've told so many people the things that you're gonna do, you've kind of like trapped yourself into that, and you don't want to like disappoint these people by doing something else. But that's not what you should do at all, because then you find yourself living someone else's reality. So you have to be totally okay and just not be afraid of other people's judgment if you decide to change your mind. Like, changing your mind is totally okay. It's part of growing and
I
developing.
say changing your mind is the most important, because like
it is, yeah.
That proves that you're evolving.
Yeah, and you've gained like a higher awareness of yourself,
Yeah.
to the point where you're like, okay, I actually don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But like, that's okay. You shouldn't like, beat yourself up for it or something. Even people that like jump around from job to job and they're like, oh man, I hate feeling like I'm job hopping and like, I can't like settle down and pick one thing. Like, that's okay. You're just learning, and you're just going through the process of like learning what you don't want to do.
Exactly.
Something really, really, really valuable that I've learned is that figuring out what you don't want to do is often way more valuable than figuring out what you do want to do.
Yep.
So if you spent 3 years in school learning something and you decide all of a sudden that you're not interested anymore, like that's okay. That's super valuable. All the money you spent on tuition is really worth it, because now you never have to go down that road again. You're never wondering what if. You're never like questioning if you could have done this or something. It's just like, okay, I went down this road. I didn't like it. Now let's like, redirect, go to a different path.
Yeah, that's so true. And like, once you've made that decision, there's no point of reminiscing or being sad about it. Just like, all right, I did it. I learned from it. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, it's time to like move forward. There's no point of looking back on it or regretting it or being sad about it. Or like, it's just like, life is so short. Your days are numbered, and it's like time passes anyway. So it's like, you can be sad that you did a certain thing or regret a certain thing. You shouldn't really have any regrets, but like, they're learning moments. They help guide you to your purpose and what you want to do. So,
dude, something else that like really bothers me is when people say they go to school for like 2-3 years for one thing, and then they're like, okay, I actually don't want to do this, but because I've already spent 2-3 years on this, like, it'd be such a waste of time to like change now. I've already spent so long on this. It's like, dude, 2-3 years in the macro is nothing. Like, you're gonna work 2-3 years and then stick to that for the next 50 years of your life because you don't want to change. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so you live to be like 90 years old, and you just look at 3 years out of that 90 years. Like, what? Like,
yeah, people like change their mind, and I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I always see. So many people do that. Like, they do one thing and they don't want to change because they've already invested so much time into that one thing. Like, are you fucking serious, man?
Yeah, no, life thing, self-awareness.
You got to know what you like and like be super aware of that.
Yeah, and what you like could be changing every single day.
Exactly.
What I find like if you wake up and do the things that make you happy, just like, so like for example, I'll like wake up and I will want to go to the gym, right? It's like I won't want to go to the shop early, but I'll want to go to the gym. So it's like I follow that want and I do that because it's going to make me feel better, feel happier. And it's like, if you just follow that happiness train, I guess, like,
I remember something you said, this like totally ties in with that. You remember that one time you drew a bunch of scribbles on the page and you were like telling me about, like every choice. So every time you're faced with a decision, you have the choice to do what you want or to do what you don't want. And every time you pick the option that you don't want internally, you move down in the vibration spectrum. Mm-hmm. So like every single time you're moving along through life, for those of you watching the video, you got to pay attention to this.
So imagine like a line.
Yeah, a line. You're going through life and then it's like, okay, there's a fork in the road. You can either choose what you want or choose what you don't want.
Yes.
And if you choose what you don't want, then you actually move down vibrations. And then same thing, you're faced with another decision. So it's just like, it's this natural flow,
Yeah.
and like you just got to work your way
Yeah.
up to the top vibration.
There's like infinite lines of vibes. If you just like picture this in your mind,
Yeah.
and imagine you're on this line, which is a vibe. You're experiencing a certain vibe, and it's like you can either raise your vibe or lower your vibe. If you do something you want or like and enjoy, your vibe increases, and that's like your overall energy and your vibe. You just like become better, more energetic, or you can drain your energy and make the worst decision.
Yes.
That's something you don't want to do. So
Yeah,
it's
very
like,
true.
yeah, that's another important thing that is in the book of High Performance Habits by like very successful and influential people, is they're very intentional and protective of their vibes. So like any
Protect your
vibe
energy.
draining decisions or people, they tend to like eliminate or disregard, and they just fully focus on like progression and good vibes. So it's like, it's more than just like the stereotypical like, yo, good vibes, you know, like hippie type stuff. It's like there's an actual science to it.
Vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like broke this down one day. Like, vibe is short for vibration.
Yeah, and that was such a mind fuck. I remember.
Yeah. Like, it's something you don't realize,
Yeah.
like, but it's so basic.
Yeah. So if someone's like, yo, I like your vibe, or like, yo, your vibe is draining.
Dude,
It's like,
it's honestly the reason that friends connect with each other, and like, it's because they're on the same vibration. And then people that don't like each other are on completely different vibrations, and that's why things don't line up. So like, you got to really be aware of like, try to read vibes, and like always be feeling people's vibrations, and like, you know, just that's how you make your way through life. Like, you should be able to feel out like, okay, this person, I'm getting like a good vibe from him or her or whatever, and like that's how you base your decision on it. Like,
so true. And like people around you and their vibe have a huge influence on you. So like, make sure you're really listening to your like instincts and like reading people's vibes accurately, because like they definitely have a huge influence on you. I realized this the other day. I was sitting and there was somebody on my left and somebody on my right, and both people had a different vibe. They were doing different things, and it's like I got half of each person's vibe. Like, I experienced the person's vibe to the right of me and the left of me. So it was like at that moment I realized like you can pick up other people's vibes and energy just by being around them and near them. So that means your personal vibe is contagious, and you know, people around you, their vibe is contagious. So like, you know, be really intentional with the vibe you want to be feeling and experiencing,
and the vibe you want to put out.
Yes.
Like, if you're putting out negative, you got to be aware of what vibe you're giving off, because you're going to attract the same energy. Like, you ever wonder why like negative people always, you know, congregate with other negative people? It's because their vibe is super low. So that's what they're attracting in their life. And that's like law of attraction right there. Like, if your vibe is high, then that's the things you're going to naturally attract into your life.
Yeah. I like caught up with someone kind of recently, and like they're known for being a little bit more of like a pessimistic person, which is fine, right? Everyone's different, but so I was expecting kind of this like catching up, and then as soon as we met, they're kind of laying down like negativity and like a vibe that I didn't want to encounter with or like put my energy into or attract. So like, it started off as we were supposed to be catching up, but then I was like, I gotta go, you know, because it's like, not to be a dick, but like, I just don't want that vibe. So it's like, I'm out here protecting my energy and my vibe. So it's like, if you're just gonna be like talking and spreading negativity stuff I don't want in my life, I'll find a way to get out of there personally. And it's like, nothing against you or like your decisions, but like, it's me. I'm here for me, you know. You're here for you. Everyone's here for themselves. Yeah.
That's like what they say when you're a sum of like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Like, it's literally the vibrations of all the people that you spend the time with. You are the sum of that. So you got to surround yourself with people that are gonna like, you know, bring up your vibration. And another like really interesting fact is, well, not really a fact, but it's like a theory that I kind of have, is that money has a vibration. Like, things like money and like sex and like the opposite sex, like, I don't know, there's a certain vibration to that, and like an energy. Like, even when people talk about it, like the mood in the room changes, and like you can kind of recognize that. So
it's a strong like vibe.
It really is. So like, I don't know, you gotta really match the vibration of what you want. Like, if you're trying to make a lot of money, like, you have to understand that there's a certain vibration attached to that
to making a lot of
value.
money.
Exactly. Like you can't just like want it and be at a low vibration and expect to get it. Like you have to be on the same wavelength.
And that's a good way to put it. If you're wondering like what your vibe is right now, just like look at your life from like a third person's view. Look how much money you're making. Look at your friend group. Look at, the car you drive.
What you talk about and think
about. Look at what you talk about.
Basis.
Like an actual look, like no kidding yourself, no trying to make things look better than they are. If you actually look at all your results in life, that ties in with your current vibe. So if you don't like that, the certain results that you have, you need to like increase your vibe. And like increasing your vibe is like mental work, daily work. Something that I heard just yesterday is like, because like you can tell people to change their mindset or strive for a higher vibration. So they like try it once or twice, and they don't see physical results right away, or they think this isn't working for me. It's like working out or brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth 2 minutes a day. That's going to do nothing in a day. But you brush your teeth 2 minutes a day for a month, you're going to see results and get what,
true.
You go to the gym 20 minutes a day, you're not going to see anything. You go to the gym 20 minutes a day for a month, you're going to see results. So it's just, I think that's a thing that people don't really recognize at first, is like, it's not like you change your mindset or you try to get a higher vibe in a day.
That
and you
easy.
think,
Boom, there you're it.
Right?
It's like that.
You got to you actually have to want it.
Yeah, it's something you got to work for.
Includes daily work. It's like, and life kind of tests you. That's like, say you're in it for 2 weeks and you're like, oh, I'm not seeing anything. Like, that's life being like, are you going to stick with it or not? Should I give you the results or no? It's like, just like you have to want it like deep within yourself.
Very true. Very true. And like, especially I find the older you are, the harder it is, because if you've been raised with a certain mindset your entire life and like you've always had a low vibration, you're not really self-aware, you don't know anything about yourself really, and then like all of a sudden you discover this whole new way of thinking, like it takes a lot more work to overcome that I guess like a paradigm is a good way to put it. Like a paradigm is like a system of habits, and like the person you are is a result of the habits that you've developed. So if you're trying to change those habits, like you have to shift your paradigm. That's actually where we got that sticker idea.
Yep.
But it takes a lot more work because of how deeply rooted that old paradigm is, and it's gonna constantly be trying to bring you back.
Yeah. That is an underrated thing to talk about for sure, because like your current habits, your current paradigm is giving you your current results. So if you want different results, you need to change your habits and your paradigm. And habits are the thing that take the longest to develop. Like, I'm sure you guys can all attest. You tried to start certain new habits, and like after a certain amount of days, like your old habits kicked in, because your old habits are stronger. So like it's like this constant battle of aiming to set new.
That boxing ring idea, right? Like picture this. All right. Yeah. So there's a boxing ring inside your head. I'll let you explain it.
Okay. So like this is like So, well, no, that's more like thoughts, though, right? Like
kind of, but it also is like the paradigm too, because like your new habit has to fight the old habit and like win.
Right. So okay, imagine like a boxing ring in your head, in your mind, right? And then one opponent is an old habit or an old thought, and the other opponent is a new habit and a new thought. So like you have this old habit that's like strong, and then you have this new habit that's like coming into the ring and like wants to beat up the old habit. Oh yeah, right. So it's like at first the old habit might win, but as you keep bringing in the new thought, new habit into your life, it gets stronger and eventually overcomes the old habit. Yeah,
that's where repetition comes in.
Yes.
The more you reinforce that new habit, the stronger it's going to get, and eventually it'll overtake the old habit, and it'll be a lot easier to fight it. Yeah. But something that's really, really important to remember is that old habit is always going to be there. Like smokers, for example, like they might smoke, their whole life or something, and then they quit. So they develop that new habit. Maybe they're successful at quitting, but no matter how long they've been a non-smoker for, like that original habit is always going to be there. It's always going to have some type of influence, but it's just like a constant battle. Like you got to keep fighting that old habit and like developing that new habit.
100.
The second that you think you've like achieved the new habit and you kind of like let your guard down, that's when all those old habits are going to come back in and like pull you back.
And by the way, for like personal experience, like these old habits creep up on you. You don't even realize it. And that's where conscious like self-awareness comes up. you need to be so self-aware of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because your body's actions and movements and what your body does is your subconscious mind, and you need to be consciously aware of your unconscious mind. And it's like you'll be setting these new habits and working towards it, and then like your old habit will sneak in on you.
Yeah, you don't even know it.
Yeah, you don't even know it until you reflect.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit, this old habit. Like,
but that's the thing is some people never reflect and they never realize. So some people are just the cultivation of all these old habits, and they never realize that they are old habits, and they never have that chance to like overcome them.
Yeah. By the way, like starting off this self-awareness journey, like you don't realize certain habits that you have are even habits.
Yeah.
That's like super important for you to understand.
Yeah.
Like things you do daily are habits, and like you don't even realize you have certain habits until you go onto this like awareness journey. But like I hopefully like some of you guys listening to this podcast will like begin to like actually like reflect and analyze what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because on a simple way to put it, everyone knows what they have to do to like be a better person. Everybody knows what they have to do to make more money, but their habits are so deeply rooted that they never take action on them, and they never actually like achieve them.
Yeah.
Like they're just like they are who they are, and they don't realize that they can, evolve and become a different version of themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you do have to be a different version of yourself to get different things.
Definitely.
All right. So somebody else on Instagram asked about our trips this upcoming summer and which driven shows we're going to.
Yeah. So the confirmed list of shows is Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatoon.
Yep. So for sure we'll be at Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatoon.
Yeah. Ideally, like if we have a bigger plan, so if something conflicts, we're gonna go with the bigger plan. Yeah. But those three we're really gonna try to make those three.
Let's talk about the bigger plan.
Yeah. You really want to give like details of it, or just kind of like?
Yeah, it's good to like set the initial.
So rather than doing like, I feel like the past 3 years have kind of been the same.
Yeah, that is actually important to talk about for sure.
Like we've been doing the same thing every summer for like 3 years now.
And that was like the driven shows, like hitting up every single city and doing the same road trips and like
driving the same places.
Yeah,
we're kind of getting the same results
because we're doing
year.
the same things.
Yeah.
So it's like super important. Like if you want new results, you need to do new things.
Yeah.
So you don't want to like look back on the past 3 to 5 years of your life and you're like, oh, what did I do? Oh, the same thing.
Yeah. Like they were awesome. Don't get me wrong. They were like some of the greatest trips of my life and like so many memories. Mm-hmm. Like I'm really, really glad that we did that. But now I feel like we're at a kind of a new level of self-awareness, and we're really looking at our results and being like, okay, we've achieved a lot, but it's still the same thing. And like, I don't want the summer to be the same thing and the same results. Yeah. Yep. So you see, this year we're going to try to like change the script a little bit and just, rather than doing 4 or 5 small trips, we're going to kind of combine everything
do
and do
one big one
huge trip. Because like I love traveling, and it's helped our brand and our business so much. So I know that traveling is like, it works for us, and it's something that we genuinely enjoy, which is why it works.
Yes.
That's another thing too, just kind of like quick little interjection here. When what you love and what works combine, like that's when you really achieve success. So like something that's high value that you really enjoy, when those two things align, that's when things work. So like music producers and stuff, like they're passionate about music is high value, that's why they achieve a lot of success. Mm-hmm. So just like being aware of what you like, what works, and then when those two things align, like that's when you go really hard at that one thing.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely has to be said. It's like what you're striving for and working towards needs to be something that you're passionate about / I want to use a better word than passionate, because you don't need to be like passionate, but like something you have a desire for, like a real desire. Like, you're going to be investing so much of your time and strength and like mental energy into a goal. Like it definitely has to like mean something to you.
Yeah. You got to have a reason for it.
Yeah. So we're planning like I don't want to release too many details because we're definitely still like in the planning phases of this, and I don't want to like set anything in stone. But
and like say we change our mind, I don't want to have that jail built.
And it might change obviously. So like this is just like a super vague idea, but pretty much we have an idea of doing one big trip to California this summer, and we're going to be doing like 4 to 5 hours of driving a day and stopping in different cities in different states. So say we do like 4 or 5 hours, we go through Montana, like if there's businesses or
people to
you know, like
collaborate
influencers, or if you guys from Montana want to do a meetup, like you can do a pop-up shop, chill there, and then we'll head down to like Idaho, and if there's more shops or influencers or like supporters of ours that want to do a meet, we'll do that. You know, go to Las Vegas, you know, do some crazy stuff there.
Portland is something we've been missing out on for a while.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of people in Portland that are,
even like Washington and Portland 100%. And in California, throughout all California, just like
there's a lot of connections in California that we have never like met personally.
And YouTubers too. And so like if you are a business or an influencer or even just supporters of ours from anywhere in the States, kind of on that coast of heading from southern
Alberta,
Canada, like Alberta down to California, like we want to do kind of like, you know how a band or a musical artist would travel and be like, we're here these days, and then we're going to be here in this day,
tour
like
dates.
Tour dates. So like we want to have like official tour dates of like planned of where we are, and like out early so everybody knows, and like there's time for people to like understand and like know when we're
and another thing, if there's somebody that you as an outsider, maybe you're not on that route, but maybe there's someone that you know of that you want us to collaborate with, like drop a comment, send us a message, just let us know kind of who you want us to meet up with. We already have a list of people in our mind that we're for sure going to connect with.
You
know, I don't want to reveal too much, obviously, because people get busy, things like that, and
we want to build that list too.
Definitely. So we want to have a huge list of people that we can just meet up with and connect with.
So this Cali trip will be like a good middle chunk of summer. Calgary, Edmonton driven, and then Saskatoon I believe is in September. So like once summer's done and we just completed all this big trip, and we've done a whole bunch of other business ventures and like all this other stuff, just like Saskatoon is going to be like a last like send off of summer, just like chilling with friends and like big B&B party, you know.
Enjoying just to like reminiscing on the summer. Saskatoon's always kind of like a really good end of the year show. I always look forward to it. Shout out to everyone in Saskatoon. We have like major support, and like
Saskatoon's
like
awesome there.
Honestly, all of Saskatchewan, like people in Regina come up to Saskatoon for that. So like all of Saskatchewan.
And by the way, like we love Winnipeg. Oh, those have been such great
Winnipeg's
trips and like
awesome,
support.
Man.
Like there's amazing support everywhere, and like
Toronto.
In Toronto, like we'll try to travel as much as possible, but I don't want to just say that because like we've said that in the past and stuff. That's why I'm like not saying anything is set in stone, but like for sure you can count on us to be in Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatoon, and we're in the works for this big California trip. So that ties into the question of like what we're doing this summer for trips wise.
What else is on there? Any other questions?
Just trying to find ones that we. This is interesting. There's a couple that ask about our school. So like our last form of education and our grades leaving school.
Personally, like I've always had the mindset of just like put in the work and do it properly, even if you don't like it. And like I never liked school. I've always disliked it actually, but I always did really good in school just because I was like, I don't want to have to do it again. And like, you know, I guess before I developed the like entrepreneurial mindset, I had the belief that like you had to get your high school diploma, which I still think is like important. You gotta have like a basic understanding of life and like social situations, but you don't need it. Like if you fucking hate school and you hate doing the work, then like, I don't know, do you have like a bigger plan, like a bigger idea of it? Like, I don't know. I always did good in school, but I never really enjoyed it.
So like, what do you consider good? Like what were your grades?
Like 80s and 90s, like good. They weren't like amazing. Like my sister, set the bar super fucking high. She got like 99 average, like 100 on certain classes, and she's going for her like your like doctor, like I don't know, man. She's super smart and like very school smart. But I found that I was just like I wasn't as school smart, but I definitely like got it done well. I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
She really enjoys it. So like props to her for being aware of that and like pursuing
Everyone's thing is different.
Yeah, exactly. Some people's thing is school, but like personally, I really don't like school, but I did good at it.
Yeah. And our last form of education was SAIT Polytechnic at Automotive Service Technology in the Clayton Carroll building.
Yeah.
My grades weren't as good, honestly, throughout school. I was like a 70s student. Sometimes got 60s, sometimes got 80s, but for the most part 70s. And same thing for me. I just like didn't like school. People learn in different ways. Like, the whole talk and debate nowadays, how the school system isn't, the whole like go there, memorize things, spend a lot of money, and then don't get a job or hope you get a job. It's like a system that, I don't know how it's going to be, how long it's going to be in that sort of format.
Dude, I think school is going to change super drastically in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I agree.
If they don't make a change, because people are starting to realize now, like, hey, I actually don't have to go to college to get an education.
Yeah.
Like, people are being trained to memorize shit when all the information they need is on their phone. So, like, the system is not
up to date.
Not up to date, We're still learning the same way that people in the 50s and 60s learned. And, like, that's why parents force people to go to school, because they don't know differently. Like, they think if you need an education, you need to go to school. That's the only option.
Yeah.
And back in that time, that's exactly how it was.
Yes,
but nowadays, you can learn so much shit so much faster and so much easier. Like, rather than taking a bunch of bullshit courses that you're not even interested in, like all these courses that universities like, oh, you have to take at least one science class and you have to take at least one math class, and you have no interest in those classes. Like, if you learn from a phone and from the internet, like, you don't have to take those bullshit courses. You pick what you want to learn and you learn only that. It's super focused. You can learn at your own pace as quick as you want, and it's fucking free. That's the thing. Like, if universities don't start realizing that they're gonna lose so much tuition, because ultimately school is a business. Once you realize that, the game kind of changes.
Plus like textbook costs and all that.
Man. Schools are businesses, and they're gonna lose customers, i.e. students, if they don't make a huge change into how they set that up.
Yeah, it's like super old school in my opinion. And it's like, the whole memorization thing is so dumb, because you have a phone. Like, you have a phone, it's here, and it's like part of life and reality. What are you just gonna like pretend it's not there? It's like, say you need to memorize the 10 last presidents of your country. And then it's like, okay, so you have the textbook, you read it, you write down each name, you like memorize it, whatever. Like, and then you waste so much time and like mental space and energy, and like, whether you could just grab your phone and Google like the last 10 presidents and know it in like 2 seconds.
Exactly, dude.
School like has that, you need to memorize their names, and like, you know why? It's like, it's
dumb,
the resource is right here, and it'll tell me in a second.
And I find that memorization does not translate to actually learning the information. Like, so many people graduate with like a bachelor's degree and they don't know anything about what they learned. All they knew is they knew how to test well and they knew how to memorize well, and they have no practical knowledge of what they learned. Like, even us with cars, like I learned basics in school because we did a lot of hands-on stuff, which is I think what helped more so. But like the actual book knowledge and like learning shit, like I have no idea what we learned. Even like the most important class, like the business class that we took, like I memorized shit, I did good in the class, but I have no idea what we learned, and like it would have really helped us, I think, personally. But like, it's just ironic that the one class that would have helped us, like we were more focused on memorizing it, and it didn't help us as a result. So like they really got to change the way they teach things. I don't know, I think that's like a pretty good place to end it personally. I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about, like any other questions or comments that we got?
So like, we get a lot of like brand/business questions often, because we've been running this brand and business, multiple businesses for the past 5 years. And, we're pretty young, and like a lot of the people in our our supporters are young as well, so they kind of want to learn from our mistakes and from our triumphant moments and stuff like that. So like we did get one question about like, I guess, investments, and I wanted to talk about a specific investment we made, and that is the good old Bluebird. So like I know many of you do know the Bluebird, but for those of you that don't, it's like this JDM Ultima that we got, and it was $200. So we were like, we can make some content with it. So like, you know how we have so many avenues. We have our YouTube channel. We have TikTok. We have like the clothing brand side of things. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So like, here's an example of like a business investment we made that came out to be really profitable. So we bought this JDM car from a friend, and he was moving to Japan, and he's like, I have this car. If you guys want it, $200, it's yours. And like, that right there is a sign of an opportunity. So it's like right now we have this opportunity. It's either yes or no. Are we going to take this car for $200? Yes, we can do this with it, or no, we could save $200, right? So it's like we decided to do it, and we made this YouTube video of turboing that car, and it got like 250,000 views.
Yeah.
And that video specifically earned us $1,600. So right off of that monetary, we made $1,600 off of this. Yeah. And in this video, like, you guys should watch it. But
so we're up $1,400 already off the Bluebird.
Yeah. So it was like, I think the video was called like turboing a car for $20.
Yeah,
so like, just search Lowcals turboing a car for $20. That video made us $1,600. And then on top of that, that car came with like 4 sets of wheels. Yeah. So we have like set of wheels that we put on the 240 for a period of time. It came with like a rare,
some nice ones too, like 5 Ziggins, like proper JDM wheels.
Came with like a JDM intake too that you put on your Skyline.
I got an HKS intake for my Skyline from that car.
Yeah. And like, people I just find are like attracted to like seeing unconventional things. So like doing things like messing up the Bluebird, like, like fucking up the fenders with like doing aggressive fender rolling TikTok videos, or like throwing all